Thank you all for being here with us to witness and to celebrate this wonderful event. Without further ado, please allow me to introduce our two special guests this evening. Kristina Gayak, the Undersecretary General for Communications and Public Information from the United Nations, and from RT Director General Alexei Nikolov. Please come up. So, okay. Okay. Now I believe Madam Undersecretary has prepared some remarks that she'd like to share.
Absolutely. Welcome, and you will find yourself in good company, because we have many other news channels that broadcast in-house and that help all of us that we are here to understand better the different perspectives. As I said, in the current complex world, the different perspectives, the different point of views, and the diversification of sources is quite critical. So with the opening that now we're having to your network, definitely you will contribute to a better understanding of this very complex world. We are aware that you are bringing now the English channel, Russia Today, but your productions in Spanish, your productions in Arabic, soon your productions in French are also going to be very much welcome. Another very important feature of this place is multilingualism, and how different languages bring us, again, different perspectives to understand the current very complex world. So friends of Russia Today, very much welcome to this place. We hope that not only now having access to your productions, but also having more information about the United Nations in your network will also contribute to the better understanding of the different positions. So we can only encourage now to appoint permanent correspondents to the United Nations to have even more coverage of this UN, which belongs to all of us. Thank you very much.
And now Mr. Nikolov will also say a few words as well.
Madam Undersecretary, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the only chance I will ever have to give a speech in the United Nations building. And I would like to take a little bit of an advantage of this opportunity to speak about something which is very personal to me, rather than giving an official speech, which you all probably expect from me. No, this is going to be quite personal. I even printed it, which I never do. With your permission, I will start with a family story, which is a very sad story. My mother became an orphan at the age of 3 when she was thrown out of her apartment in the middle of Moscow winter together with her brother, when their parents were arrested by the NKVD, the Stalin's secret police. She would never see them again. My grandfather, her father, as she only found out many years later, was tortured and executed. And my grandmother, her mother, died in a labor camp. And similar stories happened to millions of my compatriots back in the 1930s. Why I'm talking to you about this, you may ask? Well, what I see today is that more and more frequently people produce the highfalutin talk about using the word propaganda that eerily echoes those dark days of the Soviet era when even thinking their own thoughts, not to mention speaking or printing them, was a crime. I see some people in the media industry nowadays who hear the news which they personally do not like and which they do not want other people to know, and they just label it, oh, that's propaganda. So easy. A somewhat funny thing is that most of these folks have no first-hand experience with the world where someone else decided for you what you are allowed to read and watch and what you are not allowed. Unlike these people, I know what it's like. For more than half of my life, I lived in the country where I heard the mantra about propaganda every day. There was a great choice of newspapers, we were told. Listen, you have Pravda, and you have Izvestia, and you have the Red Star, and you have the Soviet Russia, and they all give you only the real news. So you were strongly advised against trying to get hold of a British newspaper if you spoke English, for your own good, of course, because anything you could read in a Western newspaper was nothing but propaganda. And why on earth would you try to listen to an American or German shortwave radio station if you already had such a great choice of real quality radio news at home? Because you had Soviet radio channel 1, and you also had a radio channel 2. And in the big cities, you even had channel 3. Why listen to propaganda? My mother survived back in 1937, miraculously, against all odds. She's still alive now, soon to turn 83. Sorry, I'm nervous. Soon to turn 83 years old. She's very interested in politics, and her political views are quite different from mine. As a matter of fact, she's quite radical in some matters. But there's one point on which we both always agree. People must have the right to know different news coming from different sources and then make their own judgment. She's doing this every day now and firmly believes that no one should be allowed to make this choice for her again. Members of our family know all too well what happens to the society where someone else decides for you what news you're allowed to know and what news you shouldn't be allowed to know, because they are propaganda. I would like to use this opportunity to deeply thank the UN on behalf of my colleagues, of course, but also on behalf of my mother, who is a great believer in the free flow of information. Thank you for welcoming RT channels as a proper, acclaimed source of information, in addition to the others that are available here, to the people from all over the world who work in this building for the most important international body on the earth, the United Nations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Undersecretary, for a very warm welcome, and thank you, Mr. Nikolov, for a very touching personal story. Now, we have one more very special guest with us tonight, and that is the Russian ambassador to the United Nations, Vitaly Churkin.
Thank you very much. It is a very special event, and it may come as a surprise to those of you who do not spend your entire lifetime in the United Nations. Here we have usually a very friendly atmosphere. I mean, if you cross the First Avenue, enter into this building, and unless you're participating in one of those very acrimonious Security Council debates or sometimes discussions in the General Assembly, you find yourself among friends. And Christina's presence is one of the elements of this very friendly relationship with the Secretariat. Generally speaking, I believe among people who work in the United Nations, both in the Secretariat and the delegations of 193 countries who are members of the United Nations. Well, it's a very heartwarming and important occasion that we are participating in today. I think UN and RT are two most famous and most recognizable acronyms in the world. Of course, UN is an old institution, RT is quite young, just over 11 years old, but they are brash, they are aggressive, they are talented, they are in your face, and let's face it, everybody watches them. I mean, diplomats do it, ambassadors do it, foreign ministers do it, heads of state and government do it, and they just do not just do it, but they discuss it. They make public statements about it. So I think sometimes they sound, in their criticism even, they sound as if they are PR representatives of RT, which make this media outlet so well known and so appreciated all over the world. And now they can do it without even leaving the premises of the United Nations. So thank you all very much. I think it is button 66. Thank you for not making it 666. And, but it's easy to remember 66. So I hope you switch on your TV monitors, and especially in a situation where nothing is happening in the Security Council, you watch RT, and that will make your day brighter and more interesting, and I think world a more exciting place to live in than otherwise might be the case. So thank you very much for this event, for both the effort which has been made by RT and the effort which has been made by the Secretariat. This is highly appreciated, and let's take in the world with all its complexity and also with all the promise I think it continues to carry for all of us. Thank you very much.
Mr. Nikov and Madam Undersecretary, if you might please come up. Just 1 second, we'll just take a few photos. Yes, exactly.
A picture.
Just give us 1 moment. Okay. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Once again, I'd like to thank all of you for being here with us tonight. We do have a little something else planned for you. In a few minutes, we are going to begin a special screening of an RT documentary film. So yes, on top of news in 6 languages, RT also produces many award-winning acclaimed documentaries on all sorts of important international issues and current affairs and cultural and environmental stories. So this one is called The Children of the Front, and it is about the rehabilitation of former child soldiers in the Central African Republic, often with the help of UNICEF. So, of course, for those of you who would like to do that, just please stay here. It will start airing here in a couple of minutes. Of course, everybody else is also invited to stay with us for just a little celebratory reception. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.
Zodata kozi zodata mbina kichiruma domo chirulu faso komagu mbagiteta 15 kamincha la munala ikampincha mujala fala famkurunya nanduso si ala gabra kimi dasige mala jala ton ala konsunda pare don las mubara sam pega fin come pastis si beto.
La centrale.